Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I feel very stupid in my last video. I couldn't get this thing to weld right. I thought it was because my gas was pretty low. And starting to realize that I had been moving stuff around in the garage. And I accidentally put my 75-25 mix on for my wire feed onto my TIG welder. So that is why, even though I had just barely enough gas flow through it, I was not getting the right coverage on my weld for gas. So I'm going to show you guys how it's done the right way now. Ready, set, go! Oh, shit. Probably help if I turn the welder on. I was getting excited there. Ooh, yeah, argon smells better. Oh, so much better. It wasn't the cheap Chinese aluminum. I screwed up with gas bottles. Alright, that is much better. That is how it is supposed to be done. Little out of practice. I haven't TIG welded aluminum in a while. But we are on our way. Alright guys, that piece I welded up, I got clamped onto the turbo, and now we have to make the connection between that pipe, and we got to use a rubber clamp on it in some point to give it that flexibility for the chassis and the motor twisting. So I got this 90 here. We're going to chop up and try to make fit in there. Let's get after it. Hey guys, I'm new to this YouTube thing. I'm still figuring it out. But you know what? My analytics are telling me that 95% of you guys who watch my videos aren't subscribed. So it's easy to subscribe. And it's also telling me that most of you guys quit watching around that 2.5-3 minute mark. So that's why I'm putting this section in here. Continue watching and subscribe. Thanks guys. I'm working hard on building this truck. So we got that final piece fit up. We got the rubber coupler in here, so we got some flexibility, so we'll have a flex there and a flex at the intercooler, so when all this is twisting like this, we'll be all good to go. So we are going to pull this off. We're going to final weld it, let it cool, and then bolt it back up in place. So we got that all welded up and got that bolted in place and clamped in place there. So the next step is we are going to be working on the other side. It's going to be very similar. We are going to be using this U, come in here off the intercooler, right over to the intake. Let's start chopping that hole in here, just like we did on the other side. So we got that U piece in there, cut and put around in here, and I think that's going to be a perfect landing for that intake right there. We're going to end up probably putting the wastegate on somewhere in this tube here. So we'll get this all plumbed in, and then we will figure out where we were going to put that wastegate. All right, now that we got this piece in, I used up both my 90s over by the turbo side. So I am going to be cutting apart these 245s to come along here to make that 90 degree into the intake. It should work in theory because 245s equals a 90, but that doesn't always mean it's going to work. This is all I got left of my other 90, which isn't enough to clamp on this tube well enough because it's in the middle of the bend. So we will start chopping this apart and we will see what we can do. Woo! Go! Guys, we got this tacked up and fit in place where we want. Now it's blow up valve time. Typically you want it close to the intake, so when you're going boost and you let off the throttle blade closes, it'll build up pressure quick, so it'll release easier. So I'm thinking we're going to be mounting it just right about there. So I'm going to take this piece off. We are going to weld this on, cut the hole for it, fully weld this, we'll let it cool down, and then we'll be able to fully install this. And after this is installed, the only thing that'll really be left is I might have to put some bungs into this intake for idle air temperature and boost and stuff like that. But the majority of all this will all be welded, and that will all come later when we do all the plumbing for all the wiring and all the sensors and everything else later. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's get to it. All right, it's all cooled down from welding. So one thing you guys might have noticed, I did not cut that hole in that. This V-band piece is nice and shallow. So when it's nice and shallow like that and I can get in with a burr bit, I like to place it, weld it, and then I can come in and cut that out by drilling and burr bitting it out, which is really easy with this pretty thin aluminum. It just makes it easier because then you don't have a weird seam and you're trying to get them to match perfect. This way you can weld it, drill it, burr bit it, and get it perfect after it's welded. So we are going to drill that out. We're going to burr bit it all smooth, and then this piece and the wastegate are going to be, not wastegate, excuse me, blow off valve are going to be ready to install on the Mule Jeep. So let's get after it, guys. Woo! Alright guys, so you can see I finished burr bitting this out. Make it nice and, ooh, tons of shavings in there I gotta wipe out. Man, it's snowing, but no, it's raining on Christmas this year. Wipe it all out. If you guys didn't know, when you're burr bit in aluminum, you get these burr bits with the bigger flutes, and the biggest pain in the butt with aluminum is that it sticks inside the flute. So if you'll burr bit a little bit, and then you're trying to pick out the shavings that are stuck in the flutes. The cure with aluminum, a little bit of WD-40 on this, on the bit, and what you're working on, and look at that, no aluminum sticks to those. So you can keep cutting and keep cutting. You just got to keep the WD-40 on it. I don't know what it is about WD-40, but it's the only lubricant I have found that works well with aluminum. So let's get this on the truck. And we are almost done with this cold side, guys. This is going a lot easier than I thought. I didn't even have to use any of the V-bands. Slide in there, slick. All right, here she goes. Last piece that's going on. Yes, I know there are shavings everywhere on this thing, but it will all be getting cleaned out when I go for final assembly with this truck. Other thing is too, a lot of people, when they're building these, they have trouble with their boost tubes blowing off later. So what they do is they take a weld and they weld around here where they had to cut, you know, so the clamp has something to grab onto. I'm probably only going to be running, you know, that 12 to 15 pounds of boost in this, so I don't know if it's going to be an issue or not, but if I start blowing boost tubes off, I'm going to take it off and weld the beads around to match kind of these ridges that normally would be on there. So we'll see. That'll be something that you follow along down the line to see if it becomes an issue, because it might not, and you might not need it. Let's get this on. It's the best way to do this. Put that clamp on first. Go. One complaint I do have about this Amazon aluminum tube setup I bought is clamps are kind of cheap, so that might be something later. I might put on some better clamps on this. Everything is where it's supposed to be. Tighten these down. All right, guys, there we have it. The cold side is complete. We got it coming out of the turbo there, up through intercooler, back around. There's the wastegate, right back into the intake. So guys, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, Mule Fabrication. Please share this. I'm trying to make some cool content. I'm really enjoying this. Please follow back and watch for the next update. I think the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to set up and build the 4-link rear suspension in this. So stay tuned, and I will see you guys later. Merry Christmas.